In the rap game, loyalty is everything. But when the biggest beef in a generation forces everyone to pick a side, what happens when loyalty costs you millions? For Lil Durk, the war for O Block was personal. For NBA Youngboy, it was business. Now new footage shows the industry that once stood behind Durk is switching sides, bowing to the one man they couldn't blackball. From Lil Zay Osama exposing the industry's fear, to G Herbo rapping Youngboy's lyrics, to Lil Baby hitting the follow button, the signs are everywhere. This is how a blackball backfired. The blackball, the line drawn in blue. On November 6th, 2020, a fistfight outside Atlanta's Monaco Hookah Lounge ended with Chicago drill king King Von dead on the pavement, igniting a war that forced the entire industry to pick a side. King Von was a top-tier member of the Black Disciples from Chicago's notorious O Block and the crown jewel of Lil Durk's Only the Family (OTF) label. That night, his crew came face-to-face with Savannah rapper Quando Rondo's entourage, affiliated with NBA Youngboy's Never Broke Again label. The tension that had been simmering online for months finally boiled over in the parking lot just after 3 a.m. Surveillance footage that surfaced almost immediately showed Von as the aggressor, approaching Quando's crew and throwing the first punches. In a detailed interview with Angela Yee, Quando Rondo broke down the entire incident from his perspective. He claimed he was just trying to leave the club and was waiting by his car when Von's crew approached. "In my mind, I'm just thinking regular in reality like you would think," Quando told Yee. "I'm about to let these people walk past me. I'm thinking these were some regular individuals. Next thing you know, a nena, hit me. I lied to you not. It's like I had an out-of-body experience." He insisted he didn't even know it was King Von who attacked him until the next day.
I lied to you not. It's like I had an out-of-body experience.
The chaos that followed was swift and as the two crews brawled, a member of Quando's entourage, Timothy Leaks, also known as Lil Tim, pulled a gun and opened fire. King Von was struck multiple times and was rushed to a hospital where he was pronounced dead. Lil Tim was arrested and charged with felony murder, but his legal team built their case around self-defense, arguing that Leaks was protecting Quando Rondo from a violent aggressor. The charges against Lil Tim were eventually dropped. The news of Von's death was a devastating blow to the hip-hop world, but no one felt the impact more than Lil Durk. Von wasn't just his artist, he was his twin, his brother from O Block. Durk had taken Von under his wing, signing him to OTF and helping mold him into a superstar. His reaction was pure grief. He took to Instagram, posting a photo of Von with the caption, "My twin gone. I love you, baby bro, D-Roy." That post wasn't just a tribute, it was a signal to the streets. The loss was personal, and in the world of drill, personal losses demand a get back. Almost immediately, the internet became a pressure cooker. Fans, trolls, and street commentators alike began flooding social media with a single phrase, "Slide for Von." It became a viral taunt, a constant question aimed directly at Durk. Would he avenge his fallen brother? The pressure was immense, challenging the very core of his street identity. Durk himself acknowledged this relentless pressure in his 2022 track, Ah Ha, where he rapped, "Don't respond to with Von, I'm like, f it, you trippin', go get your." The online world had created a dangerous feedback loop where the expectations of an audience thousands of miles away were dictating the next move in a real-life street war. The climax of this pressure campaign arrived nearly 2 years later. On August 19th, 2022, Quando Rondo was ambushed at a gas station in a busy Los Angeles neighborhood near the Beverly Center. 3 assailants opened fire on his black Cadillac Escalade, firing at least 18 rounds. Quando managed to escape the vehicle physically unharmed, but his cousin, Saviaya Robinson, known as Lil Pab, was shot and killed in the attack. The streets immediately connected the dots. This was the get back for Von. But the violence didn't end there. The federal government had been watching. In a stunning move, prosecutors unsealed a massive for hire indictment targeting Lil Durk and several other OTF members. The feds alleged that Durk had not only orchestrated but also funded the hit on Quando Rondo that led to Lil Pab's death. According to the indictment, banks put a bounty on Quando's life. The documents allege that on the day of the hit, OTF members DeAndre Wilson, Keith Jones, David Lindsay, and Asa Houston flew from Chicago to San Diego and then drove to Los Angeles using funds provided by Durk. Durk allegedly texted an associate arranging the flights. "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me." Once in LA, the crew allegedly met up with another top OTF associate, Kayvon Grant, who provided them with hotel rooms, ski masks, 2 luxury sedans, and guns, including one converted into a fully automatic machine gun. As the case unfolded, leaked police files and mugshots of the alleged shooters, all known associates of King Von and OTF, began circulating online, seemingly confirming the government's narrative. With King Von and Lil Durk now fighting a federal case that could put him away for life, the industry had no choice but to react. A hard line was drawn in the sand. Durk, as the face of OTF and the voice of the streets, had the industry's sympathy and support. As a result, a widespread, unofficial blackball was put into effect against NBA Youngboy, Quando Rondo, and anyone associated with them. The prophecy, Lil Zay Osama, exposes the switch. While Lil Durk was fighting for his life in court, the first signs of trouble came from inside his own circle. Chicago rapper Lil Zay Osama, a close associate of Durk, went on record with a shocking claim. The same industry that had backed Durk was now getting scared and starting to abandon him. It was a prophecy that would soon come true. In a now infamous interview with Vlad TV, Lil Zay Osama, who has collaborated with Durk and was gifted an OTF chain by him, laid it all out. He claimed that the industry was actively switching on Lil Durk for NBA Youngboy.
As much as everybody feel like the whole Chicago into a Youngboy, they not. The whole Chicago not into a Youngboy. It's just certain people.
And even those people.
And then even those people just, they don't even be in the mix, in the beef.
Zay's words carried weight because he was an insider, someone who saw the politics playing out behind the scenes. He was witnessing a shift in real time, a change in allegiance driven by fear and business. While Durk was entangled in a high-profile federal case, NBA Youngboy was in a different kind of prison. Confined to house arrest in Utah, he was physically cut off from the entire music industry. Yet, his isolation became his greatest weapon. Freed from the need to play industry politics, he doubled down on his prolific output, flooding YouTube and streaming services with a relentless stream of music that his massive, cult-like fan base consumed voraciously. His YouTube channel alone has garnered over 14 billion views, a testament to his independent power. During this period, Youngboy began to craft his own narrative of being an industry outcast. In early 2022, he took to social media to accuse his own label, Atlantic Records, of blackballing him. He claimed that when his mixtape Colors was on its way to debuting at #1 on the charts, the label had it taken down. He warned other artists, don't sign to Atlantic if you are artist, they not gon' support you, especially if you live a certain way. This move positioned him as an underdog fighting against a corrupt system, a narrative that resonated deeply with his anti-establishment fan base. The war then moved from social media to the music itself. Youngboy dropped Bring the Hook, a track that was less of a subliminal diss and more of a direct declaration of war. He rapped, "Nay, this that Squid Game, old block pack get rolled up. What they told us, Atlanta boy get fold up." The lines were a clear and brutal reference to King Von's in Atlanta. Durk, despite the legal risks, was forced to respond. He fired back with "Ah Ha," a menacing piano-driven track where he reasserted his dominance and warned his ops, "They dropping locations, I'm getting it done." The beef had reached a boiling point, with both sides trading threats on wax. The true turning point, however, was NBA Youngboy's track, I Hate Youngboy. On this song, he went on an unprecedented lyrical assault, not just dissing Durk, but calling out anyone and everyone who had seemingly picked a side. He took shots at Lil Baby and his 4PF crew, Gucci Mane, and even his former collaborator, Boozy Badazz. In a move that made the beef deeply personal, he even dissed Durk's then-girlfriend, India Royale, rapping, "He called me a beau, that's India, that be your hoe." This was a calculated and scorched earth strategy. Youngboy was intentionally burning every bridge, forcing the entire industry into a binary choice. You were either with him or you were his enemy. By being physically removed from the industry hubs of Atlanta and LA, he was free to operate without the usual consequences. He no longer needed to maintain relationships for features or radio play because his fan base was a self-sufficient ecosystem. The industry's attempt to isolate him had inadvertently made him more powerful. The blackball had backfired, creating a new center of gravity in hip-hop that revolved around a single artist on house arrest in Utah. Youngboy's strategy was clear. If the industry was going to blackball him, he was going to declare war on the industry itself. And with his streaming numbers rivaling the world's biggest pop stars, all from his living room, the industry was starting to realize they may have backed the wrong side. The betrayal. Allies began to defect. The first crack in Lil Durk's armor didn't come from an op. It came from one of King Von's closest friends, G Herbo, seen in a club, rapping word for word to an NBA Youngboy song. The footage went viral and the message was deafening. The clip showed G Herbo in a club, vibing and rapping along to Youngboy's track, I Got That Shit. To outsiders, it might have seemed insignificant, but in the context of the war between OTF and NBA, it was a seismic event. Herbo wasn't just another Chicago rapper, he was family. He had come up with Von and Durk, and he had been publicly emotional about Von's, stating in an interview on Club Shay Shay that seeing the footage of his friend's final moments broke my heart.
For sure.
How difficult was it for you to watch him get the video?
Broke my heart, for sure. Like, I don't like.
For him to be seen enjoying the music of the man at the center of the beef was seen by many as the ultimate betrayal. However, the situation was more nuanced. In a previous interview on the Bootleg Kev podcast, Herbo had actually given Youngboy his props, calling him the most anti-industry NGGGA ever and saluting his staying power.
You feel me? People got with you.
NBA Youngboy is the most anti-industry
Anti-industry ever. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta give a they credit.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
I saw.
This suggests Herbo's actions in the club weren't necessarily a sign of disloyalty, but a pragmatic acknowledgement of Youngboy's undeniable musical and cultural impact, an attempt to separate the art from the street politics. But the defections didn't stop there. The next major shock came from Lil Baby, in a move that was quiet but spoke volumes. Lil Baby, who had collaborated with Lil Durk on the blockbuster joint album The Voice of the Heroes, followed NBA Youngboy on Instagram. This was a calculated signal to the entire industry. The move was especially shocking because Youngboy had directly dissed Lil Baby on I Hate Youngboy, rapping, "Baby with him, 4PF, 4 poles fire at him," for his close allegiance with Durk. Furthermore, media personality DJ Academics had previously reported that Youngboy had turned down a feature request from Lil Baby because of his ties to Durk's camp. For Baby to extend an olive branch by following Youngboy was a clear public step toward de-escalation. It was a business decision. The ongoing high-risk beef was bad for the brand, and Youngboy's market power had become too immense to ignore. These subtle gestures were low-cost signals that they were open to de-escalation and, potentially, future business. The monetization of hip-hop had reached a point where market forces were beginning to override even the most violent street codes. The industry dynamics were laid bare by 21 Savage in a pivotal interview on DJ Academics' Off the Record podcast. 21 broke down the divide that had split the rap world. He explained, "A lot of people not gone F-Ock with NBA Youngboy cause they F-Ock with Lil Durk." He clarified that street-level rappers and those deeply embedded in the industry naturally sided with Durk, who was well-connected and respected.
Okay.
You got him and Quando, and a lot of niggas. So a lot of niggas ain't gonna Youngboy shit because they Durk.
According to 21, only superstars at the very top, artists on the level of Drake, could afford to remain neutral without facing consequences. This confirmed that a line had been drawn, and choosing a side was a matter of survival in business. The ultimate proof of this industry-wide alignment came from Youngboy himself. On his track FK The Industry Part 2, he put everyone on blast who had picked Durk's side. The most damning revelation was about a FaceTime call with Drake, the biggest artist in the world. Youngboy rapped, "Talked to Drake cross FaceTime, he wasn't feeling me, told me that he FK with Durk. That Saint was getting to me, told me that he liked the Saint I'm doing, but can't do Saint with me. So when we cross our ways, FK what you say, buh, you my enemy." This lyric was the smoke. It confirmed that at the highest levels, the industry had initially closed ranks around Durk, shutting Youngboy out completely. The lines were officially drawn. G Herbo's actions and Lil Baby's follow weren't random acts of disloyalty. They were acknowledgments of a new reality. Youngboy's kingdom, built entirely outside the industry's walls, was now too powerful to ignore. The industry wasn't just switching sides, it was fracturing under the weight of his influence. The last stand. Loyalty in a time of war. With his federal case closing in and his own allies showing signs of wavering, Lil Durk made a power move to remind the world who he still was. He announced a nationwide tour, and standing right beside him as the main supporting act was one of the most powerful and loyal figures in the streets, Kodak Black. In May 2023, Durk announced the Sorry for the Drought Tour, a 27-date cross-country run that was a bold statement to the industry. Despite the federal indictment hanging over his head, he was proving he could still command arenas and move tickets on a massive scale. The tour was in support of his upcoming album, Almost Healed, which featured the chart-topping single All My Life with J. Cole. This collaboration with an A-list, Grammy-winning artist demonstrated that Durk still had significant pull within the mainstream music world, even as some street-level allegiances appeared to be shifting. The most significant part of the tour announcement was the inclusion of Kodak Black as a main supporting act. Kodak, a superstar in his own right with a massive, loyal fan base and undeniable street credibility, joining forces with Durk was a powerful public endorsement. In a game where allegiances were fracturing, Kodak was making it clear where he stood. This alliance represented the resilience of an older, relationship-based industry model, one rooted in shared street experiences and mutual respect. It was a coalition standing in direct opposition to Youngboy's disruptive, digitally native, personality-driven empire. The conflict was evolving beyond a simple beef between two rappers. It was becoming an ideological struggle for the future of hip-hop. Was the path forward based on powerful, interconnected networks like the one Durk and Kodak represented? Or was it based on the decentralized, individual fan armies that Youngboy commanded from his home in Utah? While Durk was planning a victory lap across the country, his lawyers were fighting a legal war. The climax of his struggle wasn't happening on a stage, but in a courtroom. Federal prosecutors were pushing to use his own rap lyrics against him in the for-hire case, a controversial tactic that threatened to turn his art into evidence of his guilt. The stakes were impossibly high. While his legal team filed motions to dismiss the charges based on false evidence, Durk was repeatedly denied bail, facing the very real possibility of life in prison. The entire situation was further complicated by bizarre and conflicting reports about his relationship with Youngboy. In December 2023, Youngboy claimed in a video that he and Durk talked on the phone every 2 or 3 nights, and that the whole beef was just entertainment. Durk quickly responded with a cryptic Instagram story, writing, "You lied about sending the address 7 times when I asked." This confusing back and forth painted a picture of a conflict that was part real-life danger, part performance, with no clear resolution in sight. The tour, the album, the loyalty from Kodak, all of it hung in the balance, overshadowed by a federal case that could silence the voice of the streets for good. As Lil Durk fights for his freedom, NBA Youngboy's influence continues to expand, forcing the industry that once shunned him to adapt to his reign. The alliances have shifted, the stakes have never been higher, and the war for control of the streets and the charts is far from over. The final chapter is yet to be written. If you like this video, click one of the windows on either side to watch a video similar to this one.